what you could have done to figure out that you needed to pump an army, right? For example, like what caused your opponent to attack. And 2, oh, I actually get that, oh, it gets taken out, dang. But, and 2, scout, scout a lot in game, that'll definitely help you. So, at this point, I started to build an army, falling behind in workers now. No big surprise, but I'm getting out a pretty large army here, and I'm going to actually go for some sort of attack, I believe. And, okay, so we did talk about drone pumping a little bit, and, here I probably could have pumped drones for a little while longer, actually. I have quite a huge, large army out if we look. I'm quite a bit ahead in the army count. And really, I should have attacked here. So that's something you can notice, right? I think what I'm worried about is some sort of Colossus attack. I did scout that Robo Bay with this Overseer, and I think I saw the the Robo Bay as well as the robotics facility. So I know Colossus are coming. So I think I'm a little bit worried about that, and that's what started me to build units. That was my trigger. Like I said, I really could have pumped more workers here, without too much trouble. And I'm getting a little supply blocked as well. But yeah, if you see here, my Overlord did see that pylon, so I did kill it. But what I was going to talk about, while I got digressed with that, is I was saying about scouting and triggers for pumping units. So that was my trigger. But God, I am so ADD. Anyways, what I was going to talk about now is taking your third. So this is something that's really crucial for a Zerg player when playing against a Protoss or Terran who likes to expand relatively early. So let's go back to here a little bit. So let's see, when did my opponent expand? Speed it up a little bit. This game did get delayed a little bit due to the fact that he tried to cannon. But so here we go. He expanded at about 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes, right? That's actually not super fast or anything, but it's pretty fast. I mean, he doesn't have much going on. He probably could have expanded before these 2 gates here. But anyways, not a big deal, so he is expanding here. And then let's see when I decide to take my expansion. So we can speed this up a little bit. But yeah, usually you just want to be 1 base ahead. So yeah, I see that, and I'm like, bam! 3rd expansion, It's so good. This map, I don't know if this is the best place for the map, for this expansion on the map. I probably might have been better off expanding here. But I did not want to kill these rocks. All I had was like queens and spine crawlers, so I really could not do it. So I chose this expansion instead. But yeah, so key. Like I said, you want to stay 1 base ahead. And here's another really, really important idea, I think, when macroing as Zerg, right? 2 base Zerg cannot... Or I shouldn't say 2 base. 2 hatchery Zerg cannot keep up with a 2 base Protoss or Terran. So if you're in a position where your opponent's fast expanded and you don't feel comfortable taking your 3rd, throw down a hatch in base. Just do it. Throw down that 3rd hatch in base. And it will, delay your expansion a little bit, but it will give you enough production to keep up with that Terran or Protoss player. So, like, this game is a little risky, right? I maybe should have just thrown down my 3rd hatch in base, because you need that production to keep up. That's all there is to it. You need that production to keep up. So if your opponent expands, you have to get a 3rd hatchery out. And, which you guys can see me, I'm sitting here pounding on the table being like, you have to get a 3rd hatchery out. But you do. You absolutely have to get that 3rd hatchery out, or you find yourself, you won't be able to keep up with production. I mean, it's just how it is. You will, if you ever try and fight 2 base versus 2 base, you'll notice that you just can't keep up with production. And what that third hatch allows you to do, get a lot more drones out. Get a lot more drones out and pump. You know, have enough larva to pump an army to deal with your opponent's army once he, you know, starts to be aggressive. So that's about expansions or putting down that third hatch. And I think both are viable options. Like, really, if you just, for whatever reason, you don't feel safe putting this down. So, like I said, this is a bit of a risk here. I mean, I don't think he knows about it, but if he did, this is a lot more exposed than my base is down here. So, it would have been very, very viable here to put down that third hatch. Alright, so what have we covered so far? Some basic drone timing, some Overlord stuff. I think I talked about Overlord's B20 supply ahead. I think that's such a crucial idea. You know, kind of the scouting importance of droning, or when to drone, whatever. Creep tumors, queens. Alright, let's talk about a little bit of building timing here. So, oh yeah, let's talk a little bit about building timing. So I really think, for the most part, you only need one gas for, what is it, hatchery tech, or whatever, tier 1 for Zerg. Unless you're going Banelings. If you're going Banelings, two gas can work out for that, because Banelings are pretty gas expensive. But in general, you can get away with only one gas until you decide to go layer. And then once you go layer is usually when I put down my second gas. So my layer will be morphing, throw down that second gas, and if I plan on going, you know, if I'm doing pretty good with my drone timing, so if I have a good mineral income, you can throw down a third or even a fourth gas as that layer is going up. So it also depends what sort of build you're going for. If you want to go for an Infestor heavy play or a Mutalisk heavy play, put down those extra gases. If you want to go for a Hydra heavy play or Hydra Roach or Roach heavy, like a Roach Burrow Roach or something like that, or even like a Ling play, don't throw down those extra geysers. Like, you just don't need it. So, and that's about it for that. And then, yeah, you know, I see my opponent. I swear I scouted this. But the other thing for hatchery timing is, you know, scout your opponent's base and see when he is going to expand, so you can expand in turn. But yeah, here's a big battle going down. About to go down here, and he actually does scout this, and this is kind of showing. See how fast it was for him to get to this expansion? I mean, he beat me to it, basically. And so it is going to go down. I'm going to lose a bunch of workers here. But luckily, my army is just quite a bit larger than his. My macro is better here, so I want to win. That's just showing, you know, the strength of macro in this game. If you want to get better, definitely work on your macro. So what else are we going to talk to? So after this big battle... Oh, okay, so this is another really important thing for Zerg... for Zerg droning, right? If you fight a battle and trade armies... Here I didn't really trade, I actually won pretty handedly, but if you fight a battle and trade armies, pump around to drones. Like, pump around to drones, and then pump around to units. That's a good way to sneak in more drones. If you harass your opponent and kill a bunch of his economy, you want to do the opposite. You want to pump army to continue to keep the pressure on and use the fact that you really hurt his economy to okay, so let me pause this for a second. I'll talk about this idea. So, if you harass your opponent and kill a bunch of his workers, you know, say like 10 workers or something to say, or you do a drop and you baneling drop, kill 10 workers, something like that. So, you know, something goes on, or you do like a Nidus Ling attack where you put a Nidus in his base and your Lings run in, kill a bunch of workers, and then whatever. So at this point, if you are ahead in the worker count and you have units that are cost effective against your opponents, so say for example you're fighting well, Protoss, right? Say as Colossus and all you have is Hydras and Lings. Well, okay, this doesn't apply, right? But say you're fighting him and you have Hydras and Lings and he has only gateway units, but you have a better economy. If you keep the pressure up, as long as you don't make any serious mistakes with your Hydras and Lings, for in this theoretical example, versus gateway units, you should continue to, you know, trade armies at least for a little while, and then eventually your opponent will no longer be able to keep up with the production because he is down workers, and eventually your superior economy will win the day for you. So that's why if you do economic damage, build an army, keep the pressure up. Simple, right? Now say for example you trade armies, no economic damage, both you are reset, pump workers. And here's why. It makes so much sense, right? Both of you lost your entire army. Now, Zerg can really build an army very quickly. That's one of the advantages of Zerg, of larva. You know, it's almost like each larva is a mini production building. So when you have a lot of larva, if you're doing good with your queen macro, which, for example, I'm not right here. Look at how high that queen's energy is. But anyways, if you are like doing good with your macro and you're equal, you can not worry about having an army for that moment and you know, pump around the workers, and then if your opponent decides to attack you, by the time he gets to your base, you'll be able to, you know, pump that next round of army and be able to defend. And that way you got all your workers a lot quicker, so it's really helping your economy a lot sooner, and you'll get a larger economic boost from pumping workers before your army. I mean, you want, you know, what's better? If nothing happens, would you rather have your army first or your workers first? Well, your workers, you know, do more over time, so you definitely want the workers. Like the army, no matter, unless you're going to do something with it right that moment, there's no use to have your army sooner. So that's another kind of rule of thumb for when to pump workers and when to pump army. And yeah, look at this. See? My macro sucks. So don't feel bad if your macro sucks. Everybody needs to work on it. I need to drink of water. Actually, right now, I am drinking orange juice and Mountain Dew. Really good. I mixed them together. I really like it. Gives you a little bit of caffeine. You get that orange juice, and tastes really good together. Get a little bit of fizzy carbonation too. So this point, right, should be pumping some more workers. Another thing we haven't talked about is good number of workers for Zerg. 70 to 80 range. You want to get to that 70 to 80 workers ASAP, and that's kind of where you want to sit. So that's another thing to watch for. A lot of times players will, especially at lower leagues, once you start battling, all they want to do is build more army and not build more workers. So even I'm getting a little bit into that syndrome. You know, I should build some more workers here. I could definitely work on that a little bit. But yeah, I mean, just another round of workers would be so good. I don't know what I'm actually pumping here. Okay, so I am. So I'm building another round of workers, and that should keep me pretty much set. But yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to have somewhere between 70 to 80 workers max, and then kind of sit on that. So, another big battle here. eating storms, but due to my superior macro, hardly matters. I want all that